Creating a whole brand identity used to take days, if not weeks. You would hire a designer for the logo, another for the business cards, and then pay someone else to write your brand guidelines. Basically, hundreds of messages back and forth, revisions, delays, invoices, name it. And if you've ever gone through it, you know it easily costs hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, imagine this instead, right? You fill out one short form, hit submit, and it means you've got a professional logo, a business card mockup, and a letterhead mockup, as well as beautifully written brand guideline document sitting in a Google Drive, right? But that's still not all, because you also get a Telegram message or email looking like this. Basically, it shows you all of your brand assets and the reporting on place. You just have to click on it, and you have all your, basically your whole bundle together. And then it only costs cents, at least for now. You see what the tools that he used. That's exactly what my brand guidelines generator n8n workflow does. And this is exactly what I mean out of automation. But back to the workflow. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. This workflow turns the entire creative process, strategy, design, and documentation into a single automated system. So there is no manual design work, no copywriting, and no endless client feedback loops. Whether you're an agency, so digital assets, or just love automation, this step will save you days and days of work and a lot more in money. Disclaimer though, the quality of your input is going to determine how much the design adheres to your test. For example, if you don't put in any colors, the AI agent is going to come up with the colors based on the brand personality that you put in. If you didn't put in a brand personality in the form, it's going to decide what brand personality to apply. So I would recommend to be as detailed as possible while you're filling out the form and giving it the input about what you expect. Let's go to the first step. The first step begins with a simple form called the brand identity brief. It asks for 6 things: your company name, the industry, your brand personality, the target audience, values, and visual style preferences. That's it, just 6 answers. The second you hit submit, n8n catches that data and organizes it through a node called the set brand input. It labels everything neatly: company name, industry, style, audience, so every downstream AI knows what to use. This is not necessary, by the way. I just left it in because I had previously packed the form values in it before adding the form trigger. I was previously using the manual trigger. So when I added the form trigger, I just decided to leave it in and pack the information from the form trigger in this set node because I had already attached a few other things downstream to it. So I left it in. That's it. You've just done in 30 seconds what used to take a creative team an entire onboarding call. So in the next stage, step 2, the AI agent creates the brand concepts. Your data is then sent to an AI agent whose brain is any model that you choose. You can choose Claude, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, or Google's Gemini, but in this case, I chose Claude because it is better at creative tasks. In my opinion, that is. So after you've done this, after choosing the model, you have to give it a system prompt. And as you can see, I'm going to scroll down a bit and you're going to see the system prompt that I put in there. You can pause it and then take screenshots of it. After putting in the system prompt, another really important thing to do when you're in there is to toggle on this button that says require specific output format, because it will force the agent to structure your output in a certain way that is optimal for the next steps. In this case, I asked it to create its output in the format of a JSON array called brand concepts. The agent then generates 5 completely unique brand concepts, and each one has a name, a visual style, color palette, typography, and even personality keywords, as well as an icon description, basically. This is really important for getting coherent output when creating the brand assets downstream of the workflow. I gave the agent a sample of the array that I wanted it to create, as you can see in the system prompt. And then I pasted the same template in the parser. The parser, if you are a beginner, is this node here. This node forces the agent to structure its output according to the structure that you actually wanted it to use, the one that you paste here. You will also notice that every concept is different, so you get a variety of creative directions in just one shot. This is something that agency would charge days of brainstorming for. So again, I have to remind you, you're saving time and money with this thing. By the way, you can also monetize it. You can create this agent, and then you can create this workflow, and then reach out to people or businesses that might want to use it. I'm thinking consulting firms and something like that. So in the next step 3, we turn the text into visuals. Precisely, we're going to create a logo, a business card, and a letterhead. See, once those brand directions are ready, the workflow turns them into visuals. There are 3 HTTP request nodes that call an API for the service called KAI, which is an API aggregator or marketplace. You pay for one subscription and then you access multiple media APIs. In this case, I'm using GPT image generation to create the logo, business card, and the letterhead. I particularly chose this model because it's really good with text inside the images. It really creates gibberish text. Some other platforms claim to have the same capabilities, but upon testing, I found this one is the most reliable of them all. So each of these HTTP nodes sends a detailed prompt, one for the logo, one for the business card, and one for the letterhead. I inserted a wait node between the node that sends the prompt and one which checks to see if the image has been created, because sometimes there are variations in the time it takes to create an image, and I found it is much more reliable to put a wait node between the node that sends the request and one that checks to see if the image has been created, so that if there is any variation and the image has not yet been created, it can look back to the wait node and wait a little bit more, and it doesn't stop until it finds that the image has been created. You have to go to the if node and put in this expression. Basically just checks to see if the image URL is there, and then it will either find the URL or it won't find it, and if it does not find it, it goes back and waits. But if it finds it, then it just goes on to the next step, which we shall be looking at later. But it is good practice to not use just one if node, because sometimes it runs in a loop. It can keep running and running and running even when there is an error and you don't know what is on the other end. So it's best to put another if node after that original if node, and in it you put a run index expression, so that if it translates say 7 times and it's still not getting the image, it stops the workflow. If the URL is there, each one of these goes to the set node to pack the URL there. I added these nodes after noticing that the merge node worked better and more neatly if I added them. So it's just a little bit of inconvenience to get a great response. Anyways, within minutes, you've got 3 core assets of brand identity, a logo, business card, and a letterhead, all matching or AI generated. This is what they look like, by the way. They are then sent to the merge node, where you must select position from the drop-down menu, and since there are 3 of them, you must select 3 from the drop-down as well. They must then be merged, so they are sent at the same time to the next agent. If they weren't merged, they would run into the agent one by one, and this would disrupt the context, and it would also make the agent run 3 discordant times, in which case it would run with less context each time, and it would be disconnected. So in the first step, you are going to create the brand guidelines document. This is the heart of the workflow, in my opinion, because it is creating the report. So here, this AI agent creates an entire professional brand guideline document, just like what agencies deliver to clients, basically. It includes sections like brand overview and positioning, logo usage rules, the color palette with hex codes, typography recommendations, voice and tone, as well as some do's and don'ts, and real-world applications. It is then instructed to write in a confident agency style tone. It has to be consistent, elegant, formatted for real business use. So you get a full branding manual generated automatically from just your 6 answers that you build into the form. How that is possible has a lot to do with the system prompt, and in this case, it is a huge one. It is 8 pages long. Because of its length, I cannot read it out loud, but you can reduce the playback speed on your device and take screenshots of it. If you don't want to do that and you want the easy option, obviously you can buy the template. You will find the details in the description. And a key part of this prompt is the HTML template that instructs the agent on how to structure the report. This is crucial for calling the Google Docs API for document creation, since it is entirely responsible for the design document. So in the next step, you're going to be creating the Google document. The way n8n is structured is you first have to create the document before you send any information into it, and that is what we are doing here. You have to create a folder to send these documents in if you wish. Otherwise, you just leave the hash there because it just puts the document in the main folder. You also have to give the document a name, in which case I gave it the name of the company and the date, as well as brand dossier, and that is how the name comes out looking like that. I did put in a set node after the creation of the document because I wanted to see what the HTML was looking like. It was just for testing purposes and I left it there, but it's not necessary to have it there. The same expression can be pasted directly into the next node. So in the next node, we are going to be populating the document that we just created. This is a bit complex, so I understand if anyone does not want to use this method because it requires a bit of background preparation. You have to go back and prepare Google Docs for it to be able to receive messages because it does not do that by default. You would have to add a script in there and then copy the URL of that document and use it in here. I am going to put here the title of a video that will guide you on how to use Google Docs to be able to receive images. But you don't have to do this, by the way. You can just use an HTML to PDF service. I'll also be including that option at the end of the video. The only reason I did not use that option is that one, these services are not free. They are not free like this Google Docs option, and I wanted to create a free option to test and perfect this without incurring unnecessary costs until I knew that the process could work. Two, some of these services have severe formatting issues that you as the end user can do nothing about. I have seen it a few times and I didn't want to trouble myself with that when there was another option that I could use. If you want the Google Docs way, watch the gentleman's video, and then when you come back, you have to paste in that URL and then populate the rest of the node like this. You have to put in these parameters and map in the HTML from the previous node. Like I said, I'm going to provide an easier method at the end of the video. After the document has been populated, we move on to the next step, which is downloading it. This is necessary if you're going to get a document to send it to your client. But first you have to get this node a way to identify the document that you want to download, in which case you're going to use this document ID, which I mapped into the node. Another thing that is really important is you have to come down here, and then from the drop-down list, you have to choose PDF. There are other options, but if you select PDF, the document will download as one. And after this, you'll be able to send the document as an attachment via Gmail, Telegram, or even Slack. In this case, I decided to send myself the document via Telegram and Gmail. In the second email node, it's pretty straightforward what you're going to do. You just have to put in whatever message that you want to send. In this case, I put in a message that included the URL of the business card, the letterhead, and the logo. I also had to attach the document, so I went down here and chose the option to add an attachment. The field name is data, as you can see on the left, so that is the one that I entered. Please note, you cannot just email them the document URL because of permissions restrictions. You will need to send them something that they can download. You'll map in the email from the form node as well, not manually. Whoever is using it will put in the email in the node. So Telegram, things are a bit different. You select the document node. You then put in the message, which in my case was similar to the one in the email I just sent myself. But to send the actual document to, you have to do something a bit different. You're going to have to use this expression here. Because in Telegram, if you send something without putting in the extension at the end, you're not going to be able to open it well. So what I did here is I fetched the whole file, which already has a PDF file extension, and I mapped it in here using this expression. So it will be sent as a PDF document to my Telegram, and wherever I open it from, be it phone or PC or laptop, it's going to come back looking like a PDF document. Okay, like I said before, if you do not want to bother yourself with the long process of preparing Google Docs for image reception, here is the second alternative where you can just have your PDF created by another service. Okay, so the service we're going to use is called pdf.co, and it gives you 10,000 free API credits that you can use, and they are likely to expire in a month. So after this, you're going to have to pay for it. So what you're going to do is go into your browser and type in pdf.co. You sign up after getting there, and you'll see that you now have access to a dashboard. click on the dashboard widget and you'll be taken to this interface where you create an API key if you want a new one. Otherwise, just copy the one that they made for you and go back to n8n. Well, once you are back in n8n, then you're going to go and find the pdf.co node. You will type it in there and then you will be given that. After which you are supposed to pick this one, which turns HTML into PDF, and then you're going to paste in your API key by first adding a new credential. I already have mine, so I don't need to do that, but that is where you paste your API key right there, and then you click save. After that, you map in the HTML, but first you have to select HTML to PDF, and then you map in the HTML from the previous node, and then you execute. After execution, you'll be seeing it's going to run for a few seconds, and then you'll be given back a URL. You'll then pick that URL up and then put it in the browser to see what your PDF looks like. And that is what mine looked like. And the design is entirely because of the input that I gave the workflow in the form stage. You can have a much better design if you prompt it accordingly. So yeah, that is the PDF. And that's all, we're done. So yeah, the next time someone says branding text, I even money, just show them this. A single form, an automated workflow on the full brand identity waiting in Google Drive before your copy even cools down. If that blew your mind even a little, give this video a like. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want more content about financially sound AI automations and creative workflows that could save you lots and lots of money and time, as well as creating you a lot of time and money. So thanks for watching, and go build something brilliant with n8n. And remember, if you don't want to go through this whole process and want something just click and play, you can always buy the template and support the channel as well that way.